for this July 9th, Fearless Flight Live. And I had a momentary lapse there. When I said July 9th, I automatically thought today was my dad's birthday. He died 12 years ago, but it just popped right into my mind. Need I say more? That's the way the old brain works. And as many of you know, if you're afraid to get on an airplane, same thing happens. No matter what your intentions are, all of a sudden, your brain decides what it's going to do, and you're off and running. So anyway, well, welcome everybody. We are here again live tonight, and we're going to talk about the Amazon pre-sale, the book sweepstakes, and we got a couple of we had a couple of incidents that happened in the news and the aviation news roundup. We have a poll question for you, and then we're going to talk about the 201 class coming up. Wow, a week from Saturday, Dieter. When are you coming down, by the way?
I will be down on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we can get ready for the class. I'm super excited, by the way. So I'm at a baseball tournament the weekend before, and on the other side of Detroit in Windsor, Canada. And then we're heading back Monday, and Wednesday morning I'm already back down to Phoenix.
Wow. And that means that I have to work when Dieter's down here, because no messing around, man. He drives a hard bargain, and so we get more done when he's here. And then when he goes, I have to recover. But it's really fun to have you down here, and I'm looking forward to it again. We've threatened to not let him go back because we're so productive on that. But anyway, so let's talk about one other note there. We do have live call-in numbers. If you should be bold enough and you want to go on the air with us here, you can see the two numbers up there. When you call either one of them, you'll join the webinar at directly. And you need to put in that webinar number down there, 218-532-994, to get to us. But we'd love it. We're ready for you if you have something to say or something to volunteer. And we don't have the 7-second delay, so we can't bleep you if you come out with something saucy. But we know you're a good crowd there, and so we're not worried about that. So anyway, yeah, give us a call in, and we'd love to talk to you. For anybody who's just joining us tonight, Fearless Flight Live is our weekly show that we do as a gift to you, to let you know what's up in the world of overcoming your fear of flying. It's for anybody who has a fear of flying, or anybody who knows someone that's afraid to fly, or anybody who just likes to talk airplanes with us, because that's one of our favorite things to do. And our goal is to help you change the way you think about flying. And I talked about tonight's show. We're gonna what we're gonna cover, and Dieter Stoutinger, my ace first officer, wingman, and all-around good guy, and chief technical officer, is here with me again. And our good friend and fellow captain Eric is not going to be with us tonight. He had some personal things to attend to, and so he'll be back next week. Okay, we want to remind you to join our Facebook group called Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather. It's a place where you can go to find out and talk to other people who are in various stages of overcoming their fear of flying. We had, oh my gosh, I think we had about 6 people that joined just today. And we're growing into a sizable group there, and it's a really good resource for people. I want to thank anybody or everybody out there who's been contributing on that. It really is the fuel that drives the airplane here for us, and we're getting a lot of good participation and a lot of good questions for that matter. So it's a great way to support each other. And so drop in, greet everybody. And put your questions up. If you got anything you want to post up there, let us know, and we'll get it up for you. Okay, so first, without further ado, let's talk about the sweepstakes coming up.
But first, let's talk about the book, Captain Ron, because we got questions from
the book.
Oh my God, Captain Ron, you have a book. So coming out. So yes, talk about that.
Yeah, Captain Ron, you have a book. Have you got it done yet? No, don't ask that question. I'll be right back when I get done writing here. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Well, I was thinking that I wanted to do this for a long time, and it literally has been decades in the making. But I'm really excited about it, and we really are trying to make it a how-to book. Everything from the size, it's going to be a little bit handier, but 5 by 8, I think, is the dimension that came up. And so it should fit in your briefcase or in your purse, and you can actually take it with you, and we're going to have some good resources in there. And we've got this launch coming up, and
July 24th.
July 24th. And this is a really big deal for us because it's our chance to steal a little thunder there and become a Amazon bestseller. So just to clarify, on July 24th, we have come up with some incentives for you to show up and buy the pre-launch of the Kindle book on that day. And what that means is it'll be for sale. We're going to have a special super low introductory price for it, so you can sign up for it. And then the book itself, the actual Kindle version and the paperback, will be available then on September 7th. But we put this together. We're gonna have a live event on that day. We're gonna try to get everybody excited. And like I said, Dieter has put together a really cool sweepstakes here. Let's see what else. We gotta get.
Let me maybe really quickly
go for it, Dieter.
The pre-sale, because we've mentioned it last week, and we got a couple of questions, and why do a pre-sale? Well, part of it is because Amazon lets us.
Yeah.
The really cool thing about it is that we wanted to, when the book goes on pre-sale on the 24th of July, so to kind of encourage you, to entice you, to persuade you, to encourage you to buy the Kindle version on that date, we got some exclusive perks for you. So Ron mentioned that we're gonna have exclusive pre-sale pricing for the Kindle version, and then also when you buy on the 24th, you're gonna get a free lifetime access to our Masterclass, and that is a really exciting 2-hour class, 18 videos, 7 modules. That is a perfect companion to the book, and in some ways the book was also actually inspired by that original class. Yeah. And then lastly, our flagship program, which literally every single week we have people that purchase the Fearless Flight kit like hours before their flight, and that thing is just so powerful. So we want to also offer you a $50 discount if you don't have the Fearless Flight kit yet. So, but all that happens when you purchase the book on the 24th. Now, to make that super easy and a no-brainer for you, we actually created a sweepstakes. And Ron, do you want to talk about our grand prize?
Yeah. The grand prize is you get to fly with me. And as the old joke goes, second prize is you get to fly with me twice. Two flights with me. No, just kidding. The grand prize is a custom coaching day with me. So, and what that looks like, it's online or phone pre-coaching, just like I do. It's my elite coaching program that I offer to people who want to jumpstart and get back in the air as quickly as possible, and they can't get to Phoenix, and maybe they're just too busy, and you've been sitting out there waiting for that. So the grand prize will be that the course, the online coaching with me, and then on the pre-appointed day, once we pull your name and you become the winner, and we're going to coordinate with you, we're going to set up the coaching calls and all the preparatory work for that. And we're going to find out where you live. And this is, by the way, it's just for the lower 48. We're not big enough to do Alaska and Hawaii yet. We're shooting for it, but right now we're just going to confine it to the lower 48. But for those of you who live in Alaska and Hawaii or Australia or anywhere around the world, we do have the coaching the other coaching that goes along with it. But the grand prize, what we'll do is we'll pick the winner and coordinate with them the dates and all that, and we will then fly. I will fly out to you to an airport nearby that's convenient for you and that I can get into, and then you'll meet me at the airport. We'll do some of our last minute coaching and briefing, and then we're going to do a round trip from there to somewhere else. And the good news is you don't have to pay for 1 cent of that. We're going to provide the tickets and my coaching and everything. So it's worth about $7,500 if you were to pay for it on your own. Could be more depending on where you live and how much the airfare is. But we're really excited about it. It is my favorite thing to do, to work with people one-on-one and watch them transform in the course of a very short period of time. And as a matter of fact, I've had about a half a dozen folks just in the last few months that I've done the elite coaching program with. Okay, the other prizes going along down there, we're going to have the second prize is going to be a 3-hour coaching package. And you can see the value off to the right there. That's almost just over $1,100 there. And that'll be the online and computer coaching as well, or online phone coaching. And then we're going to have one 1-hour coaching package. So there'll be one 3-hour coaching package. So you get 3 60-minute coaching sessions. And then there'll be one 60-minute coaching session. And then there'll be 5 of the Fearless Flight kits, that package there. And 5 1-year membership access to our new and exciting Fearless Flight membership that's going to go online hopefully later this year. And
to coincide with the book launch, so we're gonna launch the membership when the book is the paperback is actually available on September 7th. So and the 3-hour coaching package, the 1 hour, and also the Fearless Flight kits actually include access to the membership. I think for 6 months as well. So we really have listened to you guys, and a lot of the feedback that we've been getting is you come and do the coaching, you come to a class and you learn all the tools, but it's like a language. I learned French in school back in Austria, and I was fairly,
if you don't use it, you lose it.
You don't use it, you lose it. And it's the same, neurologically speaking, it's the same with the tools and strategies. We just don't fly often enough most of the times that we keep current. And so that membership, is a monthly ongoing kind of training and boost. And the best of it is you get access to, different meditations, different mindfulness exercises, and all sorts of other things. And all that will help you stay confident in your ability to, recognize, regulate, and replace that mental dialogue that is causing you all that anxiety when you think about flying or when you step on an airplane. So we also got a couple of our books there as prizes, and we have 10 of our turbulence and takeoff guide audiobooks as well. So lots of cool prizes. Even if you are not a fearful flyer, or you already that you're good, chances are somebody who is afraid to fly. So we really encourage you to enter, and you can mark yourself, I want to win this for friends or family or coworkers, and that way you can gift, if you win, your prize to somebody who may still need it. So it's one of the things that we definitely wanted to make sure that we do. And because
over the years, one of the things I've noticed is if I walk up to 3 people, one of them will be afraid to fly. It's almost a given. Another one will either know somebody or be afraid to fly themselves, So it's 2 out of 3 people are affected by it. And if you're not afraid to fly and you happen to be listening, but you're with somebody, paired up with somebody who is afraid to fly, it's really it challenges the relationships a lot of times, because somebody's got to get in the car and drive. And after a lot of the people that come to us, it's after the end of the road for the other partner, who was the flying partner, says, "Hey, either you get on the airplane, or we're going ahead without you, and you can catch up in the car or the Winnebago, whatever." So
I want to do a quick shout out to Annalie Aiello. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Annalie, and she is watching the show tonight from Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, cool.
And Annalie just put in a comment that she is missing out on a family vacation in California. And so she's super excited to watch the show. We're very excited to have you. Please, if you have any questions for Captain Ron, or have any things that are triggers for you, put them in the comments. And so we'll try and answer them during this show. And even if we don't get to it, we'll for sure include it in next week's show.
Yeah. And I want to congratulate Karen Acuna, who the good news is Karen just made her first flight where she felt in control somewhat, and she's going to be our guest next week. She just attended a family get-together in California over the weekend. She lives down in Tyler, Texas. And so she's going to be with us next week. And I want to just publicly acknowledge her. And really exciting. The bad news is she was going to drive all the way from Tyler up to Phoenix for our 201 class next week. So I think we lost her for that, because her husband wasn't looking too cool or wasn't looking too much forward to that anyway. So anyway, but congratulations, Karen, and we'll see you next week on the show as our guest. So okay, so let's tell them. We want to tell them now what all, and not only do they get one chance, but there's ways they can get multiple chances, right?
Absolutely. And so basically, and let me get started with this. So we know your time is valuable. We know that it's really meaningful to you how you spend your time. So we want to reward you for sharing the sweepstakes. So if you enter into the sweepstakes, you get 1 entry or 1 point. If you share it on Facebook or anywhere on social media, you will receive 5 extra entries or 5 points.
Yeah, and every point is like a lottery ticket. If we were drawing out of a bowl, it's all going to be done electronically, right? So 1 point equals 1 chance. If you get 5 more, you got 6 chances. Okay.
Absolutely. And so and don't worry, our system keeps track of all of it. Once you enter, you get a unique sharing link. And we already have pre-made posts for you, so you can share it on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and wherever else. And then here's the points for that. So if you share it on Facebook, you're going to get 2 extra points or 2 extra entries, and 1 point for Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
And this is so easy, even I could do it.
Actually,
okay? And that's saying something.
Actually, I watched Ron go through it. So,
but I'm not in the drawing. We just wanted to prove that I could do it. So,
and then if you follow us on Twitter, if you join our Facebook group, you get 3 points. If you follow us on Instagram, you get 3 points. And if you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, you also get 3 points. So it really pays to enter, and I will put that link in the comments. And if you have any questions, just put it here in the comments on Facebook or on YouTube, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. All right, do you want to jump into the aviation news for the week?
Let's just put up the slide there on the guest. One of the things that we're going to do coming up here is, if you would like to be a volunteer to get some coaching on our live show, send me an email, captainron@fearlessflight.com. You can see it up on the screen there. and we'll actually let you be the guinea pig, because I want to tell people or give people an idea what the coaching's all about. I'm going to be talking more about personal coaching coming up, and we typically put up the free 15-minute coaching link there if you want to contact me and get 15 free minutes talking about your particular fears and maybe finding out what the next step is. Make sure you click on that link and schedule a time for yourself. Lots of people have signed up, and but we still have a couple of slots for the week here if you should be interested in that. So I have mixed emotions. I want to do that. I want to keep offering that for people out there because I get a lot of positive feedback on it. And the other side, I need to keep working on the book there, so that we make that date. All right. So in the news this week, there were two things there. One, I got some slides, and I'm going to talk about that. There was a Virgin Atlantic airplane, I forget what kind of airplane it was, that landed at Kennedy, was it? Let's see where, I'm trying to think where that was.
In Boston.
Yeah, oh, that's right. It took off at Kennedy, headed across the Atlantic there, and they had a report of passengers smelling some smoke in the first class section. And it was in the first 30 minutes there. They were probably just leveling off. And then so what they did was they made an emergency landing in Boston, and was absolutely uneventful. Did not even have to throw everybody down the slides. Everybody did their job, the crew, and everybody functioned remarkably well. And the fire department got on there, and one of the passengers was quoted as saying, after the firefighters inspected the fire, said it was oddly calm. There was no big commotion. And I think that's worth mentioning, because when you watch a lot of the movies and they have an emergency on there, and one that comes to mind is the Farce airplane years ago, where they say assume the crash position and everybody jumps up and inverts themselves and all that. But that's not what people do. When we get really, really stressed, and this is one of the things that I've been working with people, we go into the collapse mode and we just basically freeze. And so that's typically what happens in a situation like that. And with this, I wanted to also talk about where this incident was handled very, very successfully. I wanted to just kind of highlight to you how we got to this place, particularly with cabin fires, because there were two accidents I want to talk about. One was back in 1983. It was an Air Canada, an older airplane, a DC-9 in those days, and this incident ended up. They were flying from Toronto, I believe. From Montreal down to Dallas-Fort Worth, and just south of Indiana, just over Louisville there, they had a report of smoke coming out of the rear lavatory, and it said rear lavatory, but I believe it was the rear lavatory. And so they inspected that, and the flight attendants went here, and within 3 minutes they determined that it was something of note, and so they decided that they wanted to put it on the ground. But in that short bit of time, the pilots encountered some other collateral emergencies to go along with that. Mainly, it tripped the circuit breakers, and it caused them to lose power, and they ended up landing without any electrics on the airplane at all, which is not an issue in terms of the instrumentation, all that, as long as the weather is good and all that. But it was a very serious fire, and sadly, this fire, when they landed, everybody was still intact. Everybody was still alive and healthy, and but the cabin had become superheated in the back. They moved all the passengers forward there, and when they opened the door, the addition of the extra oxygen caused the plane to burst into flames, and there were 23 people who died on that. So why do I mention that on the heels of the Virgin Atlantic flight? Because look at what's happened, and you've heard me talk about this many, many times before. when we have accidents and incidents like this, it's so often that we don't just learn one thing, that namely the cause about that, which we then rectify, but we learn other things about that. And this was back in the days when you could smoke in the cabin of the airplane. Of course, we don't do that anymore. But the big changes on this was the security of the lavatories, because in the days of smoking, believe it or not, we had people that would go in there and they would put their cigarettes in the waste receptacle where there were paper and combustibles in there. And and it goes to the fact that people just don't connect the two sometimes. And so what happened was, they believe on that that was at least a contributing cause on this airplane. And so now to show you how tightly this is monitored, I was flying a trip one day, and we'll have FAA ground inspectors come up, and they'll just do a ramp check. And they'll come up and they'll check the flight attendants. They'll ask them questions sometimes, and they'll look at all the emergency equipment, and they'll go in the lab and inspect them to make sure that all the equipment's operational there. I remember one day the Fed came up on the cockpit, and he mentioned to me that he had given us one write-up, and it was because, believe it or not, on a trash can that has the spring on the top and the receptacle, so you push down and then you throw the trash in there, and then it slams shut like that. Okay, well, some passenger, and this is while we're at the gate, some passenger had thrown a piece of paper in the receptacle, and before it could fall all the way in there, it got trapped. So here you have the door, the flap door on there, and a little piece of paper towel sticking out. And that's a write-up, because that's a hazard, because now the fire, if it was in there, it could escape into the part of the main part of the laboratory. And that, I just remember being gobsmacked at how detailed this had become. But the main thing that we got as a result of the Air Canada tragedy was we got fire detection. We have alarms now, fire alarms and smoke detectors in the laboratories, and we have extinguishers so we can discharge, and it's all automatic. So that was the big take home from that incident. And then there was another crash then in 1998, and that was the Swissair 111 crash. And some of you a little bit older like I am might remember that. This is again, a European-bound flight took off out of New York, Kennedy again, and they were about an hour into the flight, and they noticed smoke in the cabin, and they started to troubleshoot it. They were using their checklist procedures for that, and before they could successfully fight the fire burned out of control, and it was in the wiring between that plastic liner in the airplane and the outside skin of the airplane. And they traced it to in-flight wiring, basically, which is tragic because we don't even need that stuff to fly. But that was another one. And what we learned out of that, on a more operational note, was we found that when they went to follow up and check the pilot's procedures as to see why they took so long to accomplish this before they landed the airplane, because what they did, because they're going over the Atlantic, they had the capacity to dump fuel. They normally dump the fuel if it's not an urgent, or not a really urgent type of emergency. And so they went into this following the checklist, they went into this holding pattern and preparing to dump fuel while the fire was developing. And so we radically changed our training, radically changed our checklist procedures, because when they tried to recreate this in the simulator, they found that they were only about 2/3 of the way through the reading the checklist at the time that the airplane actually had been consumed, and they lost control of it. So again, I want to end on a positive note. So you have these two accidents there. You can see now how long it's been since we've had an incident like that, and even the Virgin Atlantic there was handled successfully by a really sharp crew. And again, what can I say? That's why it's the safest way to travel, because of that. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to pass them forward there. We have a poll question tonight. I should have put that up there first, give people time to do that. But speaking of that, if I've caused any of you alarm, I apologize, but we like to be tell the truth here and talk about things and why the industry is so safe. What we'd like to do now is ask you, what is the scariest moment you have ever experienced personally on a commercial flight? So if you've had a scare, I've actually had people in my flight. I remember this one woman had been born and raised in the former Soviet Union, and she had 3 flights over there that she actually was on, and they actually crash landed. I think 2 of them had a landing gear problem, and one I don't know what the other one was. I don't remember. And I remember telling her that you have a bona fide reason to be afraid to fly. But I told her also I'd probably follow her around if I had any worries about flying, because she's defied the odds there. And certainly she wouldn't have another emergency the rest of her life. But way back when, in times and places when probably the maintenance and the procedures were not as intact. So if you've had a scary moment, and you throw in the ones that where you scared yourself, or it was part of your fear of flying, a trigger or something like that. But we're just curious to see if anybody's ever been out there on something where it was either an incident like that or an accident that people had, and share it with us tonight. So, okay, that brings us to and there's the question that Dita's got up there. So the last part of the show tonight, again, just a reminder for anybody who might be in the area a week from this Saturday, July 20th. We'd love to have you come and join us at our 201 class. That's Clear for Takeoff 201. We're going to hold that at the Phoenix Airport Hilton Hotel, just south of the airport. We're going to have the whole crew there. We got a lot of people signed up and registered for the class, and this is, Dieter's got the slide up here that says why you need it. This is why you need it. You need tools and strategies to overcome your fear of flying. You've got to have things that address your triggers and things that help you to feel safe. Because fear of flying is really an anxiety disorder, and anxiety is a function of your autonomic nervous system. When it doesn't feel safe, you get anxious, and so it's not just a matter of turning a switch on and off. You've got to do something different, otherwise you're going to be getting the same results there. And we believe you need a proven system guaranteed to lead you to success. We have 100% success for the people who fly with us, and even that, if you fly with us that day, which is an optional part at the end of the classroom activity, go with us up to Las Vegas and back, and you're not satisfied for any reason, we'll refund your money. Everything but the Southwest airfare, we can't control that, but we will gladly return your money if you're not happy with that. And the reason we do that is because we have nothing but satisfied customers there. So this is to get you, if you don't fly with us, or if you do fly, it's to prepare you to be fully ready to complete your next flight. This is a how-to course on how to get ready for the flight. We have over 4 hours of classroom instruction that we'll be doing that day. And it includes what we call chair flying. We'll go through a mock flight, so that you'll actually go through all of the stages of the flight with us and learn how different techniques and strategies and tools to deal with that. We will talk about the TSA, address anybody's concern there, what to do at the gate, how to cope with boarding, what to do when the door closes, what to do in turbulence. All those things will be included in the classroom that morning. Again, we get just the best feedback from people, and we have people show up that, number one, they're surprised that they're not the only ones that were afraid to fly, and then the other big surprise is we have people that even though they had purchased the ticket to prepare to fly that day, when we get done, we have people saying, I can't believe I actually flew today. And so we are just, it's just so much fun to do that. And what it takes to fly, as you well know, it takes confidence that you can manage your anxiety. That's first and foremost. And with that comes the confidence that flying is safe. But what stops most people is the confidence that they need, that they won't lose control, embarrass themselves, or worse, have a panic attack and freak out. There's our last group in Burbank that flew with us, and I don't know. I mean, more than 2/3 of those people there were just totally dumbfounded that not only did they fly, but as Eric points out, some of them actually slept on the way back on the return flight back to Burbank that day. But this is going to be next Saturday, a week from Saturday, at down here at Sky Harbor in Phoenix, at a hotel just south of that, and then we'll provide the transfer to the airport from the hotel and back, and we'll fly with you. Everybody will fly, and you'll have me, you'll have Dieter, you'll have the whole crew on board with us to meet any needs that you might have. But people are more than adequately prepared for the flight. And I know even some of you have signed up. You're sitting there thinking, how can that possibly be? It's because we use the same system that I learned from you all out there. What does it take to get people comfortable and confident to fly on an airplane? So.
Okay.
Anything else?
I just wanna. I'm gonna read this one. Heather, or hey Heather.
Heather's been on earlier today.
Yeah, she said she was leaving from Fort Lauderdale to Philadelphia, and there was a terrible storm, and so they were delayed. And then I gotta read this. And then the pilot comes over the intercom and says, "Well, we're gonna give it a try anyways." And then they took off. So so I imagine, Heather, that you didn't have a whole lot of confidence in
yeah. Heather, but I've never tried to fly. Never ever have I tried to fly with an airplane or without. And it's regrettable. Hopefully you got a good laugh out of that from the classes here, knowing that, hey, that's just an expression that they're using. Okay, what he meant was, obviously, is we're going to see if it meets the criteria that we set to safely embark on this flight. We don't try to fly. No, we don't. We just. And I
can totally relate to you, Heather. I mean, if you already are anxious about it, then this comment probably didn't provide you with what you were looking for to hold on.
Yeah.
But I am glad that that the pilot did make it. So
it made up for Eric's lighter moments here tonight. So thanks for contributing the humor there, Heather.
And so yeah, I just wanna say
okay
that that's as much
So get those links, come on board, help try to win the grand prize and any of the other 27 other prizes, and help us launch the book successfully on July 24th. It'll be a live event. We'll announce the winner live, and then again, if you're in the area and have any desire to overcome your fear flying on July 20th, please register and come and join us in the class there. So. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Dieter, again for doing all the work so that when we get together here, it shows up.
And I want to do a quick shout out to one of our most loyal alumni, Jim Duke. He just sent us actually just before the show, like literally 20 minutes before the show, another incident. Are you? Let me just see if I can pull this up real quick.
Oh yeah, no, I've got it up here. Yeah,
Okay.
It was an MD-88, and they were going from Atlanta to Baltimore, and they made an emergency landing in Raleigh after they had some sort of an engine problem. And in the feed here that I'm looking at, it said after an engine appeared to fail mid-flight, and it's always interesting because we talk about engine failure because that's the worst case scenario for us, is if the engine completely shells out. But oftentimes what happens is we may lose oil pressure, and we shut the engine down as a precaution. And believe it or not, if I shut an engine down because of low oil pressure, and of course I'm going to confirm that with some other indications on that, and not shut down a good engine. But if for some reason I was in my descent down there and something happened to the other one and I shut it down for oil pressure, something like that, with a jet engine, I'd go ahead and start the thing back up and use it for thrust. And so, so I want to just qualify, when you read, even when you read it in the news that they shut down an engine or they had an engine failure, you need to really get more information on that, because it doesn't always mean exactly what it said. But regardless, this is uneventful. We don't even call it an emergency. We declare an emergency so that we don't get stuck in traffic with undue delays in our landing. But to us, it's what we call a non-normal procedure and a non-normal landing. So it's not completely routine, because we don't do that every flight. And most pilots will never, ever, ever do it in their career. It's just incredible of how low. If you think that the odds of one dying in a crash being low at 1 in 33.2 million, the odds of having an engine fail is even more extraordinary. So anyway, thanks, Jim, for pointing that out to us. And but you didn't see a headline all over the United States, at least, saying, "Wow, they lost an engine and everybody survived." Okay, because it's not even newsworthy anymore. So, and even with the fire that Virgin Atlantic, it makes a short blurb on the news and the internet, and then it drops out of sight and nobody knows about it anymore because nobody got hurt. So anyway, okay, well, thanks, Dieter. Thanks everybody else for joining us tonight. This has been another episode of Fearless Flight Live, and we'll see you again next week with our special guest, Karen Acuna, who's going to come and talk about her experiences. So have a great week, everybody, and happy landings.
Good night, everybody.